I kind of couldn't be more excited about my new sponsor, TERRAPIN Farms. Every Christmas for the past 3 years, I have raided their stock of aioli sauces and jams and butters and just delicious condiments for my husband. He just loves like any kind of interesting mustard or sauce. He's very creative in the kitchen, so this is like the best. It's been the best gift every year. I'll be doing it again this year, and I know he knows now at this point, but I know he's still excited for it, and I also get to benefit because it's delicious. But they have products like hot pepper bacon jam, apple maple bacon jam, blueberry bourbon pecan jam. There's a whole host of aioli sauces. There are grilling and wing sauces, there are dressings, there are dips, there are salsas. It goes on. And they just really have incredibly high quality products and absolutely mind-blowingly delicious things. It's one of those things that I think just makes healthy eating a little bit more exciting if you have a good sauce or condiment to go with your vegetables and your meats. These sauces really add the pizzazz that sometimes I know I am craving when I'm eating mostly a boring diet, but a very healthy boring diet. So if you are looking for something either for yourself or for somebody else, these are always great gift ideas, but also just wonderful to gift it to yourself as well. Check out terrapinridge.com and enjoy.
Welcome to Thought Experiment Called Life. This is where unconventional thinkers and multi-passionate makers share their journey of creating meaningful lives, built on growth, creativity, and the courage to live on their own terms. I'm Greta, a musician, a martial artist, an herbalist, and a fellow traveler through this mystery we call life. Every other Tuesday, I bring you real conversations with rule breakers and path forgers. Subscribe on Substack for more resources, mindset, tools, and more.
Hi friends, welcome to Thought Experiment Called Life. My name is Greta Hopmer. I am your host and your guide on this little adventure. I wanted to talk about the holidays today because I know I have a complicated relationship with them, and I know that many people do as well. If you know me at all from my music Ultraviolet, then you probably know a song I put out about 4 or 5 years ago. It has an explicit title, and it was really how I was feeling about Christmas at that time, and I did put a clean version out, just so you know. I wrote a song about Christmas for people who were wanting it to be over because it hurt a lot, basically, is the song. So, in so many words. And it's funny, people have mixed reactions to it. I found out that one of my family members was kind of mad at me about that song, and I'm sorry that they felt that way. But, when you're a musician or an artist, you got to channel things out the way that you do. And I very much felt that somebody else probably needed this Christmas song. It came flying out of me, and it was my therapy during a very, very tough Christmas. And that's why it exists. So I figure somebody else probably needs it too. So there's that. I think that I spent so many holidays feeling like I had failed, the holiday expectations. I didn't enjoy the moment the way that I wanted to or thought I was supposed to or should, and just being somebody who is a bit more sensitive to noise and social events and social batteries and kind of communicating that. I definitely fumbled a bunch throughout the holidays with that, whether or not communicating well with the people that I love or communicating my needs or my wishes. So it's not to say like I need this and that's all that matters. That's not the purpose of my little spiel today. My purpose really is to just pass along some things that have helped me. I'm not a therapist. My sister is Dr. Hopmer. You can drhopmer.com. You can go and talk to her too more. I highly recommend therapy, as you guys know. It's just really, really good to be able to have somebody to talk to reflect with, who's a professional, who understands the mind and who also can give you an outside perspective when you're kind of just like in the weeds. I had somebody recently tell me that I shouldn't share that as much. And I know they meant it from a good place, like as if I should maybe feel more like embarrassed or something. I don't know, or private about therapy and all of those things. But I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I'm a huge advocate to recommend that as just kind of a practice in people's lives. There's nothing broken or wrong with you if you want to go to a therapist. It's just it actually shows a sign of being highly engaged in your life and wanting to grow and understand yourself more. And it's a really, really healthy way to process heavy emotions. And they are trained to listen and reflect and help you with whatever is coming up. So I will keep talking about therapy. And we could even just start there with therapy. So, at the holidays, it's definitely good if you have a therapist and you haven't talked to them in a while, maybe just schedule, like sometimes I'll just schedule an appointment during some time that I know that there's going to be a lot going on that I maybe just want to process with somebody who's not related to me, who's not one of my close friends or my family or whatever. And I can just kind of say all the things that I might be feeling and have a little bit of a grounding experience there. That is a really nice strategy during the holidays to just kind of tuck that in there if you can. If you can't do it during the holidays, maybe even after the holidays, just to kind of process any feelings that might come up. Because the holidays bring so much, right? So we have all the nostalgia, you have the joy, you have the grief, maybe you've lost somebody or life events have changed a lot and it's just not like it was before. Maybe life events have changed in a way that's joyful. There's new members of the family, but then there's like new things to have to navigate. So there's a lot that goes into the holidays and, just the coordination of feeding everyone and getting presents in on time and and navigating all of that. So there's a lot of moving pieces. So besides therapy, which I, again, will recommend forever. I think that just some things I'll just say for me, again, I'm just sharing my own personal experience that I think some of these things might be helpful. And of course, I always recommend take it to your therapist. In part 2 of this, I'm going to talk about some plants and nutrients, and that I can tell you with some expertise behind. But I'm just going to talk about some personal experience here for me for when it comes to the holidays or any kind of time where there's a lot going on and there's like a lot of like social things happening. So I'll say the biggest thing for me that has helped, and I even did this around like when all our families came in for our wedding, was padding the time. So padding time in between events when you can help it. Of course, there's going to be caveats. I'm sure some people are like, well, I can't do that. And sometimes we can't. But if you can, let's just focus on what we can do if we can do these things. So giving yourself a little bit of extra transition time. This is something that I have put into my life in general that has helped me a lot so that I can transition from whatever activity I'm doing to the next activity. It helps me tremendously to have that little bit of extra time. So, when I can. And when it comes to the holiday events, making sure maybe you're not just going like driving from like one spot to another, or if you are, maybe give yourself like 5-10 minutes to stop at a little park along the way and just get some deep breaths and just be outside for a second. If you're with your person or if you're with your family member or whatever, you guys can just like decompress for a second and get ready for the next event. Just doing that little bit right there, giving yourself a little bit of extra room, a little bit of padding in between things really, really makes a difference. It really allows you to be more present. At least that's how I found it in my experience. I'm a lot more able to be present because I'm not just kind of like burning my energy through. I'm taking a minute to process where I just was, enjoy everybody I just was with, and then breathe, and then get ready for the next little gathering. So I know when I'm back east, it is very much like you see one set of family, you see the next one, and then like the next day you do the next thing, which is a lot. It's a lot, but it's wonderful as well. But it's more wonderful if I'm able to actually feel like I'm present, So another way to go about this is really just, okay, I'll just say for me, I have a hard time doing 2 social events a weekend because usually, we've been working all week and putting a lot of energy into the things I'm creating here. I personally need a day in the woods, at least half a day to just walk. I need to just be outside and just ground, and I'm with my husband and we're just sort of processing the week and dreaming up new dreams and setting our intention, and then having time at home to be with the cats and like just make sure our space feels good. I need that. That's really important to me. And part of this is going with establishing your priorities is what I would say. That's a priority for me. That really helps me stay grounded, and it helps me stay in my own energy and really intentional about what I'm doing. So that's one of the days of the weekend. And then if there's a social gathering on the next day, that's totally cool. I just won't book 2, right? So that's just for me. I know I won't do one thing on one day and another thing on another day. Every now and then, again, I do it, but it usually ends up turning into a 3-day weekend where I need one more day to just kind of like process. And if you're not somebody who feels like this, I am excited for you. And if you are somebody who feels like this, I'm sure you can relate to the social battery feeling, the feeling of your social battery just draining. And it's not even your social battery, it's just your life force battery. And it's not like, I think I used to hear that people would say like, oh, if you're not, with the right people, then your battery might drain, like that you'll feel not great. And I personally will completely enjoy my time with people and love them and have a wonderful time. And I will be exhausted the next day at times. So that's not necessarily for me a measure of that. If I feel like I need to smudge myself, if I need to like get some funk off of me, then that's more of an indication of who I'm spending my time with personally. This is how I if I feel like the need to like get some energy off of me, then I start going like, okay, well, why do I feel like that with these people? And then that's a whole other thing to address. Degrees of ick that you feel afterwards. But if you're just tired, if you're just tired and just need some time to recharge, that just might be how you're wired, and that's okay. So that's more what I'm speaking to here. Is just giving yourself enough time to recharge and ground and recenter and be able to show up the way that you would like to, which for me is to be present, to be able to really pay attention to what somebody's saying when they're speaking to me, to not be like wandering off somewhere, not be doing like a to-do list or trying to figure out problems in my head, but just really being present with them. And especially around the holidays, I try to just be mindful that, we're not always guaranteed the next holiday, right? And that might sound really dark, but that keeps me centered, especially if I'm having trouble connecting. I just remember that this, as my sister says, this is a moment in time, and that I need to be present for it. I need to really pay attention. And so I'll start to really, really engage with what people are saying and start to pick up, start to connect with my senses in the room as well. Smells and sounds and touches and things like that, if I'm having trouble paying attention. So I think that, I've talked about adding some padding in your time, some transition time, figuring out your priorities. Is it really important to you to make sure you do all of the events, or are there 2 or 3 events, or is there one event that you're like, I have to do this year? Like, this is the thing that I really want to do. That's like the most important thing to me this holiday season, on a personal note, and then kind of working backwards from there and figuring out, where your priorities are in terms of where you're going to spend your energy. Of course, we can't always, go like, well, it's not my priority to be in a certain family environment that's like a lot of stimulation or whatever, right? If there's a truly toxic situation, if there's a truly toxic relationship dynamic and abuse and those kinds of things, I fully condone drawing that boundary. If it is just a matter of family being family, I really enjoy Mel Robbins' Let Them, maybe grab that book and listen to it. And when you can, just like it's not, if your family member is 80 years old and they're being who they are, and they're not really, Christmas is not the time they're going to change it, nor probably any other time. And don't let it ruin your day. If you don't have to be around it, don't be around it. But it might not mean that you skip the whole event entirely. So all I'm saying is just kind of make your priorities about the things that you are most connected with for the holidays, and then kind of work from there. And going with that, saying no more than you say yes is something that might be helpful. Sometimes I'll just say, I want to do all the things. I want to do all the things. I want to see everybody. I want to do everything. My social battery, my energy battery isn't as big as it's like my eyes are bigger than my stomach kind of thing, So, but just with like energy instead. And I know that about myself now at this point in my life. So I try to leave padding in my schedule, and I try to pick the things that are important for me to do. Say yes to things when they feel fun and light you up, and then have no problem saying no to everything else. There's a lot going on, and we can't, do it all, literally. There's like too many things happening. So just give yourself that permission to say no to more things than maybe feels comfortable, especially if you have a hard time doing that. This is your permission to do that. One of the biggest things that I try to do for any season, for any chapter, again, I keep going back to the wedding, or if there's a family trip happening, or if there's another kind of trip happening, there's some kind of event that's like, its own little group, right? It's in the holidays. I will try to give myself an anchoring thought. I will try to give myself something that if I start losing sight of my intention, that it'll help bring me back. or if I start getting overwhelmed and feeling like I need to control the way the day is going, the way the events are going. Is everyone happy? Is everyone having a good time? Are we going to get it all done in time? And all of that. So those kind of thoughts can creep up, and it's a very human experience to have that. For me, I like to come back to a grounding thought. I will set some kind of intention. One of the episodes I did way back in the beginning has a whole bunch of different sayings that I will go to, especially when things get really crazy. That is what I will go to, some of those sayings. So, for instance, I love Louise Hay's, all is well, I am safe, out of the situation, only good will come. That's kind of my crisis mantra if I'm oh my God, I don't know what to do. So that's more of oh my God, things are really getting out of control. How do I come back to center? So for instance, a saying that you might want to anchor, I'll just give you an example of something that I like, is may I meet the season with openness, ease, and joy. And that's something that I will say. And it's something I've kind of been saying in my life in general. And it's really incredible. There's more and more proof. And I really want to have a neuroscientist on to really talk about these things in terms of how our language and our mindset shapes our experiences. And so when you set yourself up with words like that, or may I meet this season with openness, ease, and joy, and you can pick whatever words resonate with you the most. I just happen to like those a lot. Then that will help you set that intention and set that energy. It'll help you look, even if you're not thinking about it, you'll notice those qualities more just because you set that intention. So another episode that I did where I talked about, when you look for, let's say, look around the room right now for anything that is red. You look around the room, look for all the red things. Okay, count them up. All right, got them. Okay, how many things in the room are blue? It's we weren't looking for blue, we were looking for red. So it's just a very simple thought experiment that I've always really liked because that'll help me think about. So when I say, may I meet this season with openness, ease, and joy, I'm looking for openness, ease, and joy. So I will notice those things more than may I meet this season with stress and frustration and anger or whatever, so which can be, a lot of times if we don't set our intention and put a phrase out there, then that might just be what's going on in our head just because we haven't stopped to check it out and look at it and think about it and set something else that's new. So if you can't avoid going to a situation, if you can't avoid going to an event, give yourself some parameters for it if you can. Of course, these are all if you can, because again, it can be tricky with family and coordinating all of that. There's a lot happening. So if you're able to give yourself a time limit, maybe I will be there for an hour and a half, or I'll be there for an hour, or, until we do dessert or whatever it may be. But give yourself a time limit. And if you need to let somebody know, sometimes I know I've let my mom know, or one of my aunts know that at this time we have to go because of the whatever. And you don't need to give people explanations. You can just tell them you need to leave. But if you give them ahead of time, also they can be ready to get done whatever it is, there's presents or whatever. It's just kind of considerate, but it's considerate to everybody. So you are able to set that time limit ahead of time. And this is really just, I'm saying this to anybody who maybe just hasn't done this yet in their life, right? I'm telling you that these are things that you can do, it is okay for you, even if you don't want to go to something, if you go and you just set a time limit for yourself. If noise is an issue, they have the loops for the ears that I personally would not recommend walking around in every other area of life, on a walk or in a grocery store and things like that, personally, just because I think you need your senses. But it's your family gathering, or if there's a friend gathering and it's really loud and it's overwhelming you, but you want to hang out, that's a great place for it. Something like that is it's a great time to use a tool like that, right? So those are really wonderful. And the other things I'm going to suggest are kind of things that I would suggest any old time, but the holidays is a nice time to really put it into practice because you have a reason to. you have an actual event you're training for, right? So, starting your mindfulness practice, and it doesn't have to be anything extraordinary, just having something you reflect in the morning, in the evening. I listen to guided meditations a lot. I love my sister's guided meditation. She has from 2 to 5 minutes. So they're real quick. You can just kind of put them on anytime. And then I love Tara Brach's meditations as well. So they're guided mindfulness meditations on her podcast, and I love them. I'll sometimes just put on either her talk or a meditation while I'm getting ready, feeding cats, doing makeup and hair, getting my clothes on, like just something that's keeping me, if I'm feeling like a lot of stress about going somewhere. I just went to Friendsgiving with our amazing friends and our community here, and they are people that I want to spend time with anytime. I love them so much. And I got social anxiety getting ready to go. And that's kind of how that works. Like, I had so many feelings about I don't even really know how to explain it. I felt anxious. I felt anxious about going. Partly it was noise and just not sure how I would feel. I just didn't know how I would feel. I have been like this forever. I'm sharing this because it's not like it was an event that I didn't want to go to. I actually suggested Friendsgiving. And everybody was wonderful. I'm like, let's do it. And somebody else coordinated the whole thing. And all I had to do was show up. And we brought food, of course. But I was having anxiety about it. And I had a great time. There are a few audiobooks that I have in my library from Audible that I revisit every couple of years, maybe some every couple of months, depending on how I'm feeling. But one of them that I definitely visit every couple of years is A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And it's one of those books that is pretty short, and it really just hit home in so many ways and helps me ground back into some beliefs and practices and energy that I like to carry forward in my life. And one of my favorite quotes, you may or may not know it, but I'll just read a little bit of it right now because I love it that much. And it is, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be?" The quote goes on a little bit, but because I know that you want to get to the episode, I will leave it there. It's definitely a book to check out on Audible. Audible is one of the sponsors for my podcast, and I couldn't be more excited about it because I use Audible, and I have used Audible for many, many years. So here's to building your little Audible library and having the books there that you can just pop on whenever you need to have a little reminder of who you really are and how incredible you really are, and how to allow yourself to just be that person. And hopefully you find some of those messages here on this podcast as well. So you can follow the link in my bio in the descriptions for Audible for a free 30-day free trial. And I don't think you'll ever look back from there. It's been a life-changing thing to have an Audible subscription for so many years, and I have an incredible library that I love and cherish. So I hope you find your books as well. And on to the episode. And I went, and it was wonderful. And it took me a minute to get comfortable. But because I talk about these things a lot, I have other friends who also talk about these things. And I know they're like, I'm feeling anxious. We're all just like, I don't know why. So that's a conversation, maybe a different, somebody professional to come in here and talk about. But I say that because sometimes these things come up regardless of if we want to be there or not. And I did want to be there. And, I will listen, I listened to guided meditations or just a talk. And like I said, I like Tara Brach a lot because she's very soothing and easy to listen to while I'm getting ready. It's calming and I don't have to like pay attention super hard. So something like that is helpful as you are getting ready or you're doing presents or whatever. Obviously music, you know, I'm a musician. I should start there. Having a good playlist. So like, it doesn't have to be a Christmas playlist. It could be something that makes you feel good. Music will transform you in one note, basically, right? Especially if it's a song that you love, you're instantly like, yes, put your headphones on and, you know, let that just transform you in any moment. Definitely music. But yeah, so your just daily rituals to stay centered, reflecting in the morning. Like I said, if you really want to start your mindfulness practice, definitely recommend going to, I say going, it's virtual unless you're in New York City, to my friend Nick Chopa's mindfulness meditation. He does guide you a little bit, and then you sit, and then he guides you a little bit more, and then you sit. And it's about 45 minutes long, incredibly peaceful. It's around lunchtime. And that's something, if you're able to, you could just go to it whenever you want. I think he does Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I think, double check. But yeah, like that's something that you can do to nurture yourself during this season that is going to hopefully become something that you take moving forward if you're not already doing that. So I definitely recommend any kind of short little mental pause, little mental break. Guided meditations are one of my favorite ways to recommend people to start getting into mindfulness and meditation, because it gives your the monkey mind something to do and think about and help walk you through relaxing your body, whatever. And then you can kind of float off into your mindfulness space and allow the ripples of our mind to just still, even for 30 seconds, will feel like the best nap you possibly could have, right? It's the best. I'm going to say go out into nature. Go out into nature, even if it's cold, bundle up, get some hand warmers. This is one of my best tricks for staying warm when it's really, really cold, because I will go outside in almost every weather. So as long as I'm not getting frostbite on my face, I don't have the gear for that yet, but I will. So get the either rechargeable hand warmers I have heated socks now. They're great. But I would always use the what are they? The air activated hand and foot warmers, and put those in your shoes. And then even if you're just holding on to a hand warmer, even if it's one hand, it will actually keep you very warm. I know there's some physiology happening there, but it'll keep you very warm. So bring one of those with you and just go outside for a few. Just get some deep breaths. Just ground back down. So this could be, maybe you put on your guided meditation for 2 minutes and just walk around your neighborhood, walk to your mailbox, take the long route. I don't know if that would make sense, but just take your time. Take your time. Or go, stop somewhere and just, you don't have to go on a huge hike. I love going on the long hikes because for me, that really, really just clears everything for me and helps me recenter. But when it gets really, really cold, it's hard to do that. So just going out for a little bit, touch a tree, touch the dirt, look for a bird, these things. It's a quite magical practice. It's not like there's science to explain it, but I think it's better if you just go experience it. And when you start looking at the land around you throughout all the seasons, it informs something about you and your spirit as well. In, again, ways that I don't really have the words for, but I can tell you that it's real and worth doing. Something that might be fun, we have the All Trails app. So maybe look on the All Trails app and do a little map, and then do a filter of however long you want to walk, or you can always just shorten it if you don't want to walk as long, but see if there's any trails around you that are new that you've never walked before, and just explore them. That's a really fun way just to get to know the land around you and have a new experience. I used to do this when I lived back in Chester County all the time because I had walked every trail possible. So I would seek out new little hidden spots, and it was always fun and very rewarding. And again, a lot of these things are just things you can do anytime, but I think that they're really, really helpful around the holidays. Breath work is something that it's one of those things that I know that I should invest more. I say would like to. I would like to invest more time into it. I have a on and off again relationship with my Kundalini practice, and I always feel better when I do it. I always feel way more sparkly and elevated when I am practicing my breath work. But at minimum, even if I'm not doing that, at minimum, I'll do box breathing. I really find the benefits when you do the inhale and you hold the inhale, and then the exhale and you hold that exhale out. That is really, really transformative, and as well as breath of fire. So those are the two breaths personally. Oh, and alternative nostril breathing. I'll link videos for these. I love those breaths, and you can do them again. And most of these things I'm suggesting really are your little stolen moments. That padded time gives you a chance to do some of these things, and it really, really helps. Movement, I'm going to say move your body. So it's so important. We've got so much sugar around, so many snacks and goodies and treats, and our blood sugar is going crazy. So it's really important to move our bodies. It's really important to play. So if you can make it playful, it's the biggest reason I love jiu-jitsu is because it is playful, or it can be playful, I should say, if you have the right people to play with. That's fun to me. I also, something like aerial yoga or acro yoga if you're feeling super brave, but pickleball seems to be huge right now. What else? Dance. In another life, I would just go dance. That's all I would do. So it's, finding things where you can move your body. There's so many YouTube tutorials for either just, your kind of standard working out or dance or whatever. We really have all the resources that we could possibly need if you just want to look for it. So finding a way to play and move your body will just help your health as you move through this and help you connect with a little you inside you still who probably wants to play if you're not playing already. But especially around the holidays, it's the way that some of the best memories are made. And before I get into part 2 of this, which is the nutrient side of things, I'm just going to recommend some books that I love and that may come in handy. So I will put links for these all below. Of course, I'm going to start with Outrageous Openness by Tosha Silver. I recommend that book all the time because it really changed my life so much in teaching me how to approach life with openness and that surrender that is connected surrender. So I really, if you are the kind of person who feels like you get overwhelmed when you have to manage every little detail and control freak tendencies and type A personalities, and you get stressed if you're not doing things right and correct or whatever, and your shoulds and all of those things pile up on you a lot, and you're having a hard time seeing the forest through the trees, as they say. Outrageous Openness may be something you love so much. I hope that you do. That's my little love note, passing that along all the time. The other one is Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins that I talked about earlier. I really love her. I love her perspective. I love her ability to be grounded and loving at the same time. There's an earth quality. I really appreciate her insight. And I think that the Let Them theory is something that is really, really helpful, especially during this time of year. It's kind of a different way of dealing with the codependency thing. There are definitely arguments that can be made that it's not the right approach at certain times, and that's fine. But again, I'm going to focus on the times that it is appropriate when it comes to a lot of family gatherings where you do need to just let them. That's fine, let them. So if you haven't checked out that book yet, or even just listened to her talking about it on an interview or a podcast, might also just be, again, this is why I did a podcast. I love the fact that you can just throw a podcast on and listen to something that will help you change your mind and your perspective a little bit. And it's a little bit different than an audiobook. So yeah, I love that. I really loved this year. I read The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching. I listened to it. All these books I have on Audible. Audible is one of our sponsors. And there is a link there. So if you want to try Audible for 30 days for free, now is a perfect time to do it. You just have a library full of all of this wisdom. And again, I kind of do the library oracle thing where I just sort of pick. I'll close my eyes. I'll find my library, right? Close my eyes and scroll through and then pick a book, see what that book is, so I can find the chapters button. And then I'll go to the chapters button, close my eyes and scroll through and then pick a chapter. And then I see what is said. And a lot of times it's exactly what I need to hear. And it's kind of fun if you do it that way. So it's just a little game to play with your Audible library that I really love. So The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching I listened to a month ago or so. And it just was, it's not even really related to, it's a balm. It's an absolute balm to the spirit, to the soul. It's a different way of looking at things, and it might just bring you the peace that you are craving this holiday season. A Return to Love is another one of those books. I'm going to recommend, I think I have 8 books here. 7, 8, something like that. If there's a book that sticks out to you, that's the one you should go with right now. These are all really, really wonderful books that I just find to be wonderful for perspective and grounding. So Return to Love by Marianne Williamson is one of those books that I return to. I return to the love of that book every couple of years or so and re-listen to it. It is very centering, is very loving, incredibly wise. Just one of those books that might be a staple in your library. And I've talked about Tara Brach a lot during this. Her book, Radical Self-Acceptance, is a lot like her podcast when I listen to it because she reads it. So this is one thing too, I like when the authors read their books. So Tosha Silver reads her book, Marianne Williamson reads her book, Tara Brach, and then the other two that I'm going to recommend, I believe they read their book as well. But it's a lot like her podcast. It is very gentle. It is very loving. It is very centering. Yeah. if that one speaks to you, I love me some Tara Brach. This Messy, Magnificent Life by Janine Roth. Janine Roth wrote a book called Women, Food, and God. And that's how I've mainly known her name. And it's a very transformative book, especially if you're having any, like friction around how you relate to food. But that's for another time. Her book, This Messy, Magnificent Life, I found to be so profound and wonderful, in particular when it came to how to show up in life regardless of what's happening, how to be present, how to find beauty and meaning regardless of the mess. And that to me is something that I know for me has been a huge part of my personal practice. So I really loved hearing her put it into a book because I thought that was very relatable and very purposeful. I think that's really the point of all of this, to be able to navigate our lives and our holidays, with that presence and love it regardless of the mess, and show up regardless of the mess, and be messy and magnificent. And all of those things can coexist together. And then the last one I have is Codependent No More by Melody Beatty. Just a good book to have if you have codependent tendencies and need some framework and understanding of what that looks like, how to deal with it, how to identify it. Maybe don't try to tackle all of that during the holidays. Don't try to undo your codependent tendencies or whatever, right? But it might be a good time to just kind of take notes and be aware and just have that gentle, loving awareness. And her book is definitely a staple if you experience that in any of your relationships. So that is my book list for the holidays, at least for what I could think of today that I felt would be helpful and useful. Essentially what I was saying before, our holidays hold a lot. They're very potent, full of a lot of emotions. And to have a mantra that you can stay grounded to, have an intention, and don't put too much pressure on yourself, on anyone else. It's, just another bunch of days in some ways, and it's the most wonderful time of the year in other ways, right? So celebrate the moments where you feel like you can be connected and present, and give yourself plenty of space to breathe and just be you and be able to show up for yourself and for others in a way that feels whole and gentle. Again, the grounding sort of phrase that I think I will be using, may I meet this season with openness, ease, and joy. I really like that a lot. I think personally for me, openness, ease, and joy are really expansive words and energy that I am welcoming into my life more and more. So I hope this landed for you. If it did, you might want to share it with somebody else who could benefit from some of these tips. This is just my personal offering, my personal experience of sort of my personal experience of things that have helped me be able to have better holiday experiences, or better experiences when it comes to really busy, potent family times. That could be another way to say it. So thank you so much for being here. Part 2, I will go into a little bit more of a practical side of the plants and nutrients and things like that. So I will see you on the next episode. Please subscribe and like and share. It really helps make a difference. And visit our sponsors because they're awesome.
This is for the people who used to love Christmas, the people who said I can't miss this, waiting to be swept up by the magic and all of the lights, but it's so tragic, 'cause inside they're falling into panic, they're falling to pieces. Just so you know you're not by yourself this merry little Christmas. I can count on my 10 fingers all the ways we can say not this, and I will never ask you to put a fake smile on your mouth, 'cause this Christmas, yeah, this Christmas, I wouldn't miss. This is for the ones who are putting on a brave face, but inside her heart has been misplaced. It's waiting for peace. You're done with the dramatics and all of the heart-shaped acrobatics. Inside it's more than you imagined. You do it so gracefully. Just so you know you're not by yourself this merry little Christmas. I can count on my 10 fingers all the ways we can say not this. And I will never ask you to put a fake smile on your mouth, 'cause this Christmas, yeah, this Christmas, yeah, this Christmas, this Christmas, I wouldn't miss. Merry Christmas to the ones who cannot wait till the clock strikes 26. And Merry Christmas to the ones who cannot wait till the clock strikes 26. And Merry Christmas to the ones who cannot wait till the clock strikes 26. This Christmas, this Christmas, this Christmas, I wanna miss this Christmas, this Christmas, this Christmas, I wanna